Yo, 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 and we are back. We are live and kicking. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, really good.
Good, good. KP,
Yeah,
welcome, welcome,
I'm
welcome.
too.
Bella, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
It's good to see my two favorite people in his house. So today we are having I would say a brand new day, but technically GMT, it's 20 past 6. So how is life treating you in Turkey, darling?
Well, it's been raining here all day, and yeah, it's the what it's just we've had a week of just rain,
Oh,
and
you are just a bundle of joy, aren't you? You're a bundle of
yeah,
joy.
yeah. I think I'm just tired of the rain. I'm just tired of the rain. I need some sunshine. You know, when there's sunshine, there's like you feel like you have so much energy, and you just feel so good. But I don't know what's going on with the weather everywhere. You guys have snow in London, and
Oh, it's ridiculous.
all the other countries also, I heard, is
Ridiculous.
pretty a
It's
lot
so
of snow.
it's
So
the weather is so effed up, it's unbelievable, especially where I'm living. So I'm very much near an airport, and so like it's like yesterday was probably the most ridiculous day I've ever seen in my life. It would snow, the sun would come out really brightly for about half an hour, then the snow would come back. It gets all dark and grey. It would snow for like half an hour, then the sun would come out. Like I don't know what's going on with the weather. It's crazy. I think the aliens are coming. I'm going to just lay it out. The aliens are coming.
well,
Definitely, definitely. For sure, for
well,
sure, for sure.
well, I think
KP,
there's
my friend.
this.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go on. Yeah, go on.
I said there's like a mini ice age coming. That's what I think.
Yeah. You know what that means, Bella? You need to find yourself a nice young man to warm you up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how you solve that problem, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I need.
Oh, yeah. KP, my friend, how are you? What's happening, my friend? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm good. Today was a blockage, really. The minute it snows in this country, it's just
Mhm.
deadlock. You can't do anything.
Agreed,
Uh,
agreed.
you
I
know,
was
it's
supposed.
I
Sorry.
guess it's got to do with the transport system. It grounds to a halt, and we're really not prepared for snow in this country properly. I guess because it hardly ever snows, so how much can you prepare? Put grit on the road, on the main roads. Yeah, you can do that, and the transport system. There's not much you can do, but today's been yes. We had 6 inches of snow on over here in northwest London. But I know where Sol is in West London. He's more in the countryside, so I'm sure you've had much more snow.
Well, as we say over here, I'm in the leafy part of the country, basically the sticks and stones. Yeah, unlike you, because you're very close to the capital, where you're a lot closer than I am, and so yeah, there's loads of fields. It's very country-esque type of environment where I am. So yeah, yeah, we. I don't know, but when we spoke earlier on and you were showing me the snow out your window, dude, it looked like a blizzard. Like
Yeah,
really.
wow, it was crazy. It was like in the morning. Wow, it was really snowing, really hard. But then it slowed down, and then, like you say, the sun came out. Then it kick started again about 2 o'clock, and it went hardcore. And then after that, it stopped for a period of a few hours. So me, my nephew, and my niece, and my middle sister, we went outside and we started playing around in the snow and built a snowman. So, and what I will do, I will post some pictures on our Instagram account, which will
Really?
be down
Oh,
below if you see on our channel, YouTube channel. So yeah, it was yeah, we built this really skinny, like healthy snowman. It wasn't
Healthy.
puffed out or
So unlike the
healthy
conventional
snowman.
snowmans, yeah, I like that. Unlike the conventional snowman, your snowman was clearly on a diet, right? Hell and cabbage and fucking all types of green.
Maybe he's a vegan. Maybe he's a vegan snowman.
Yeah,
Indeed,
yeah.
indeed,
Why not?
indeed.
You know, we thought we'd switch it up and give it a healthy kickstart. You know, so show the
Mm.
out there a healthy snowman.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, I went out today and it was raining really crazy. And, you know, I'm walking and he's like, hold her umbrella and text messaging is always on here. It's like that everywhere. So it was kind of like,
Yeah, just so you know, your reception sucks, but I love you.
So,
Yeah, it's like,
I think it's because of the weather.
Here we go.
If
Always
you guys,
blaming the weather. Always blaming the weather, aren't you? Huh?
well, it's been raining like crazy. And remember, I'm in Turkey.
Of course. And how you never let us forget that. Mm? Well, today we were contemplating what we wanted to talk about. And so KP said, why don't we talk about technology? Because we all have cell phones, we have smartphones, we have like smart devices in our homes. And yeah, we wanted to kind of review the impact of smart devices, wearable devices, and non-wearable devices, and how they kind of impact on our lives today. So KP, let's hit us up. What are you saying? What are you saying, man? What are you saying?
what about technology or in general?
Yeah, you're the guru. You're the tech guru. So what do you reckon?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm the tech guru, but well, I work in an industry which is, of course, technology. So today, in today's society, when the mobile phone was introduced, it had a massive impact on us. You know, as in all generations. So from young people to you know, people in their so all across all ages, and also really what the mobile phone has done is made it more accessible to get onto the internet through a touch of a button, really. And so really the main two, so I wanted to first talk about the main two phone manufacturers. And also, so we can talk about Nokia really at the start. So Nokia were the dominant company, I think, what is it, in the early 2000s? Yeah, and they were dominant. You know, they had some fantastic handsets. You know, where the Nokia phone I remember is a banana phone. Does everyone remember the banana phone? The flip phone. So
Yeah.
you know, and I used to love just really showing and, you know, flip when someone calls you, you just flip the device, and then you
Matrix phone. It was used in the Matrix, right?
yeah, because that's it. Because Keanu,
cool phone.
yeah, because Keanu Reeves really promoted Nokia, and it was a fantastic success, because the banana phone I think it sold across the world, and that was their major handset at the time. But what happened with Nokia is they didn't foster change, you know, with their designs and models. The minute you know, the minute the iPhone was introduced, you know, that changed the whole landscape of mobile phones. So Steve Jobs, when he gave that presentation in early 2000, and he introduced the iPhone, and the iPhone was at the time an amazing device, new model. And it again was such a success. And from that day Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, it has gone really, really, it has gone really, really, like, you know, the phone is just getting better and better. And I hope you guys can hear me. Am I having bad audio?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you, buddy.
Right.
I could hear you too.
So, so with iPhone, I don't have an iPhone, and I've never used an Apple mobile phone. So what I wanted to say is really talk about. So who in the group has an iPhone? Is anyone using an iPhone at the moment in our group?
I'm using an iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm using it, and I love it.
And so what made you go out and purchase an iPhone to say, you know, other brands out there in the market?
Well, I like all the features that iPhone has, and I really like Apple. So I really like Apple products, and I just find with Apple, they're always coming up with new technology, and they're always adding some feature, and they're always upgrading the phones, you know, and I really enjoy using Apple products.
Oh, great. Okay. And so what model are you using at the moment? Do you know, or is it just
yeah, iPhone 6.
iPhone 6.
I'm using the iPhone 6. Yeah. I really want the iPhone 7, but I'm okay with my iPhone 6 now for now. So the only thing about it is that the battery, it goes out so fast. So you always having to have a charger with you.
So do you know the reason why your battery was running really slow?
Too much porn.
Well, I know when you have too many screens up, that kind of drains your battery, and also if you're, you know, on video calls and using Wi-Fi, that does drain your battery. But I think I can't remember, but I think there was something about a lot of people were experiencing this with the iPhones, and I think they're trying to improve that.
Oh no, it wasn't that at all. What the Apple manufacturers were doing in the coding of the iPhones, they were really they had a code in there that what it did was intentionally make your battery life drain. And the reason that is because what Apple wanted customers to do is to upgrade to the latest phone. And they only admitted that a few weeks ago. So I guess one of the researchers found out that they must have seen some code within the...
No way.
And that is what was that was what's causing batteries to really drain. And so iPhone has now, you know, they've accepted, and that they've, and now they've come up with another piece of software where it shows, you know, your true battery life. So don't always think that, you know, it's because we never know what's in the code, right? And you know, we just go with what it shows on our screen in terms of battery life and so forth. But truly, it was got to do the coding. So I wanted to move away because for me, I've been a Samsung fan. Reason being is because I've always enjoyed Samsung products. So I started off with a Samsung S3. Now the screen was much larger. So when I mean large, it was the size of I don't know the dimensions to hand, but I can say it was about that big.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty big.
So it was a large screen, and I really loved it because it just it's an Android, so it uses the Android operating system, and so you've got other different types of tools that you're not restricted with, whereas in an Apple product you are kind of restricted on what apps you can use. But and this was at the start when the Apple products came out. But over time, they've developed, so they do work on Android operating systems as well. But I've always enjoyed Samsung. They use, they've got the same features, similar features to Apple products. The camera lenses, the picture quality, the video quality, the tools, the phone apps that you can get on the Android. They're the same as on an iPhone. So I wanted to come across, because Sol, you haven't really. Have you had an Apple or Samsung product? At the moment, you've got a Sony product, I believe.
Yeah, like most people, I've had a Samsung. In fact, like most people, I've had tons and tons of cell phones of all different shapes, sizes, and manufacturers. What is the manufacturer from Taiwan? It's not NEC. It's what's the other one called?
HTC.
The other manufacturer.
So it was HTC.
Yeah, right. So I really like HTC, but the problem with that particular company and their operating system, which is still Android, but the operating system is slightly different, is that it's very, very complex. Like even plugging in your contacts was such a mission to do. So I think in terms of operating systems, in terms of the actual software, I think Samsung and Sony are pretty cool. But yeah, I've never had an iPhone. In fact, I've never owned an Apple product. Why is that? Some people say Apple products are a little bit more expensive, but as far as I'm concerned, like I've always been, for example, a PC user, and no, I'm a bit lazy in the sense of I don't want to learn another way or discover a new operating system, be it a laptop or an Apple type of product or their smart devices. But I'm sure at some point I will own an Apple product, be it an Apple MacBook or a cell phone. But yeah, at the moment I'm using Sony, and I'm really happy with Sony. Like the battery life is super amazing. I can't believe, like, it's a simple phone. It doesn't do much. It doesn't change your life, but the battery life is really, really good. It doesn't freeze on multitasking. And if you know how many times I've dropped this bloody phone, right? So many times, not one scratch on the screen. The screen doesn't crack. Whereas if I had dropped a Samsung and a HTC, no doubt, cracks and scratches. So this is the first product I've actually used where I'm literally getting value for money. And to be honest with you, I'm a simple man. I don't need to. All I need to do is get on the internet, make video calls once in a while, send WhatsApp messages, and make calls. I don't need to do all these elaborate types of activities on a phone. So I'm quite happy with the simplicity of what I have at the moment. So this is quite interesting. So we're looking at obviously products, smartphones, and we're looking at the positive side. So the positive sides are, well, actually, technology at the moment is really incredible. You can literally connect with somebody anywhere in the world while you're on the move for your smart device. So in this instance, we're talking about a smartphone, right? That in itself is incredible, how you can receive data and it's coming through the invisible airwaves into your phone, and you can actually connect with people in real time. I mean, that to me, that's like really mind-blowing, like how that whole process works. Like if somebody said to me, how does a mobile phone work? I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't know where to start. It's the same as if you asked me, well, how does electricity work? I don't know. All I know is I switch on the light and there's light. It's so incredibly amazing how we can go onto Wikipedia anywhere in the world and look up shit. It's totally mind-blowing. But my question to you guys is, since the invention of smart technology, mobile phone, 2G, 3G, 4G, what are the downsides of these types of devices? Because, you know, I'm sure that a lot of families, marriages have broken up because of these smart devices. You know, what do I mean? I mean, in so much as, I guess, if you was unfaithful to your partner prior to smart devices being launched, it would have been a lot easier for you to get away with it and perhaps maintain your current relationship. Yeah. But now you can check, you know, you can break into people's phones, you can check their messages. Like, I'm just curious to find out how much pressure has been put on the nuclear family because of smart devices. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, like if you look at it, like look at people. People are basically stuck on their cell phones all the time, and people are not interacting with each other anymore. Everything is just through messaging. They don't even talk or socialize, especially the younger generation. I find that they have no social skills at all because they're always on their cell phones. Like they can't even hold up a conversation because they're always text messaging and constantly on their cell phones.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think psychologically, I don't think that's very good for people to not have any interactions with people, you know, only through the phones.
Yeah, I'll chime in there as well. You're absolutely correct. Like the introduction of the mobile phone has really shaped our social interaction with other people. You know, you're in a virtual environment really, where you know you can have a conversation with someone now on WhatsApp. You know, you can have video conversations on WhatsApp. But you're not having any physical interaction with that person. And again, you know, the limitations on that is that, you know, you are really not engaging with other people.
We've lost a sense of community. Really.
Really, you're not getting any. Yeah, okay. So you're talking to someone on the phone, but you're not really physically looking at that person eyeball to eyeball, having a meaningful conversation.
That's why I can't stand like when people want to have a full-fledged conversation by WhatsApp or by text message. It pisses me the fuck off because that's why after a while I just start to shut down. Either call me and talk to me like a normal human being, or just don't. But I don't want to be sitting for for a long period of time, constantly looking at my smart device because you can't be asked to give me a call. Like, I think we as human beings, we've lost touch with actual basic communications. And the bottom line is, if we think about it this way, if you look at great films such as Terminator 2, it's really a representation at that time of things that were going to come, because you could argue that actually Skynet is Google. Think about it. Skynet is Google. Right now, you can voice activate Google and ask any question you want, and you're going to get an answer. That's scary shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Now going over to algorithms and machine learning and that side. Oh, we can talk about that all night. But really, like you say, Google are really intrusive into ourselves now, right? Because not only do they know our location, they know what our habits are. They look at what key search words we when we go onto their Google site.
Do you remember when you sent me, pardon me, do you remember when you sent me that video? And it was a video on YouTube, and it was a test that this journalist had done. And he had two phones, and one was not connected. Both phones were not connected to the internet. Yeah. One was on airplane mode, and the other one was just idle, but it was not connected. And he basically went on. Well, it's better if you explain it, but yeah.
No, no, you go ahead. No, now you've started. Finish.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, sure. So basically, he went on a tour around, I think it was New York, and he stopped off at various different locations. Anyway, he came back to sort of HQ, headquarters, and they through some software, they went into the phone's devices. And even on aeroplane mode, ladies and gentlemen, even on aeroplane mode, the phone was still communicating with Google, allowing them to know what your location was. So don't be fooled. Just because you think your smart device is on aeroplane mode, that these fuckers don't know where you are at. You are mistaken. They know where you are at. So we are living in very interesting times whereby our very anonymity is being exposed.
Yeah.
You know, if you got, I don't know, how do I feel about smart devices? I think smart devices are necessary to a degree, but I think we're really starting to push the boat out, and I think that we're moving in a direction where we're going to move past a point of no return, and it's going to come very, very quickly. And I really feel sorry for our children and our grandchildren and so forth, and the next generations, because we are literally living under a microscope. And and just some useless information. I read a report maybe 5 or 6 years ago that said the majority of all porn was funneled through Apple phones.
Oh, right.
I'm just saying, it was like 60 or 70% of the majority of all porn was being funneled through Apple smartphones. So clearly, Bella, we know why you invested in an Apple product, don't we now?
Oh yeah.
We all know why you
porn.
We all
Everyone's
know
got devices.
Useless information. So
So quick question, guys. In the next 20 years, where do you see technology leading us? I'll be in the next. Well, first and foremost, in the next 20 years, I'll be in my late 50s, possibly early 60s, thereabouts. So that's not really far away if you think about it, considering the days are moving so quickly. But in terms of technology, where do you think, for example, we will have the technology to teleport, for example, in the next 20 years?
Possibly. I think we're going to have robots. I think robots doing a lot of our jobs.
Do you think we'll have robots in the house?
Yeah, absolutely. There's robot maids. They've made that already. There's a robot that cleans your house.
Saudi Arabia, no doubt.
Yeah. There was another robot. Actually, they gave an award to a robot.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name in Dubai. Did you guys see? Did you hear about that?
Sophie.
Yeah. It's not Dubai, it's from Saudi Arabia. She's been given citizenship.
Citizenship. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Listen,
can you imagine? That's crazy. It's a robot.
Dude, it's so ridiculous. There's people dying that don't have anything to eat. They haven't got access to clean water. That are literally in overloaded boats trying to get from sub-Saharan Africa to fucking Europe, killing themselves, drowning to get to Greece or Athens or Italy or whatever. And yet these motherfuckers are giving citizenship to fucking AI. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's absurd. Yeah, that's because human life doesn't even matter anymore. Human life doesn't matter. Now it's becoming, it's robots. It's going to be the world of robots, right?
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to one of the restaurant where there is no waiter and they have, you just use a touchpad of whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, but there's a lot of restaurants.
That's KP's favorite restaurant, people out there.
I like
if you want to take KP on a date, if you want to take Bella on a date, take them to McDonald's. They don't ask for much. Anyway, sorry.
KP, give me a high five because I like McDonald's too. I love Big Macs. Big Macs are my favorite. Really? I don't eat it that often, but every 5-6 months. But I really enjoy McDonald's. So.
For sure.
Yeah. So my take on technology and where it's going is, yes, there is going to be, we're going to be affected in our jobs, right?
Yeah. Well, we are being affected, aren't we? We are being affected.
well, not necessarily, not on a massive scale, but there will be professions out there that will be obsolete in the next 10 to 15 years. You know, some clerical jobs, some accounting jobs. You know, because the machine will able to take that data and collate it in a way and provide and produce reports, you know, that an accountant does, right?
Well, so let me ask you this. So where does that leave the porn industry? Are we going to see in the next 10 years, rather than human beings having sex, we're going to start looking at robots having sex with robots? Like, I know it sounds like a silly question, but
not robots with robots, but I think it's going to be humans with robots.
Really? Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I think, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So with your bizarre idea of how where technology is going, I don't think many people will be seeing it in that view.
Really?
But yeah, I totally agree that you know, robots are coming. They're not going anywhere, and it's only been in the last 10 years to 15 years that researchers have really now looking at machine learning and artificial intelligence as a whole. Now, Elon Musk, you know, he now wants to take it to another level, right? So because I know Sol is a fan of Elon Musk and he wants to be the next president. But I know he's shaking his head. I don't know what he's shaking his head for, but
no, he's a great man. He's a great man. He's a great man. I respect him.
But he wants to go to the next transition where you're actually having an interaction with your brain. You know, so because if you want to orgasm, right? If you really want to have Bella, if you want to have a total orgasmic experience, it's not coming from like one's genitals. It's because if you think about it, it's all connected to the brain. So if you can stimulate the brain, that is going to be ultimate orgasm. If you think about it. Do you remember the movie? Do you remember the movie Demolition Man? And there was a scene with Sly Stallone and Sandra Bullock, and they go back to her apartment, and this is in the year like 2059 or whatever it was, right? And she offers to have sex with him, and then she puts this device on his head, and then she also puts this device on her head. And they connect. It's like a mind-melding type of. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
And like in the future, they like it's almost like the movie was predicting this is going to be the evolution of sexual intercourse, where you don't physically have to touch people. There's no like fluids mixing and mingling like the old-fashioned way. It's all about brainwaves merging with other brainwaves, and that's how you have sex. So yeah, probably that's going to be the next evolution. Like,
I love it.
I can see that.
I love it so how you relate to all of these topics to sex and porn.
I love sex. What can I say?
Never change.
I knew that.
Yeah, I think that's all he really thinks about.
I know, yeah.
Well, listen, I think most people think about sex. The difference between me and most people is I will verbalize it, where everyone is all like very conservative because they want to save face. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, but you think like all day people think about that?
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah. You're in an office with, you know, a hot girl or a hot guy, and you're like in, you know, these close-knit environments or whatever. Hell yeah, of course you are. Do you know how many affairs are taking place right now? Do you know how many affairs are taking place right now in the workplace? Yeah. Of course. Look, as I mentioned in one of our videos, that humanity is driven by three elements: shelter, i.e., safety; food, to be sustained; and sex. We are programmed, we are wired for these main three components. And everything else is subcomponents of those main three elements: food, safety, and sex. So the only difference is that I'm verbalizing what you're thinking, you know, because
I think you need to invest in a virtual headset, because that will be the best.
I agree.
Either someone buy you a virtual headset, and I might fucking go get you. I might get you.
I think you should.
You won't ever have, because at a touch of a button, you can just switch on and you can look at your virtual queen, you know, that you can then have those emotions where, you know, she doesn't talk back to you, or if she, you know, and all that.
No, you make me sound like a monster. You're absolutely making me sound like a monster. I'm not like that. Actually, to be fair, I'm somewhat conservative. I've always been conservative because that's just the way it is. I'm not quick just to jump on the bandwagon. Like, for example, if everybody's moving in one direction, I'm the motherfucker that moves in the other direction, because I'm not the sheep. I'm not a clone. I'm authentic. I am true to who I am. I'm a risk taker. So, while that sounds really good, I'm all about the old fashioned. Do you know what I mean? I'm all about courting. Actually, I say that, but I'm bored of dating. Like, but I'm the type of person, if I find you attractive, if we got good chemistry, if you can stimulate me mentally, you know, and we're a good fit, then I will put my energy into you. That's just, you know, that's just who I am. But anyway,
So, sorry, go
on. No, go on.
I was going to say, how about you, Bella, in terms of, you know, just robots, and you know, would you?
saying, what is your price? How much could we pay you to see you have sex with a robot?
Yeah,
come on, I would never. Never.
You would never.
Come on,
everyone has a price. Come on, what's your price? If I paid you £1 million to £1 million. Oh, so you are thinking about it. Okay. I pay you £1 million. I pay £1 million for me to have live sex.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Live, no. Private.
Private. Okay. So what would be your price then, Bella? What's your price?
I have no price. No.
Bella. Okay, I'm going to double it. I'm going to make £2 million.
Okay, I did for 5 million. £5 million.
Okay, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first here.
That's not a lot of money.
You heard it first here. Pay Bella $5 million and she will have sex with a robot live on the internet.
No, I wouldn't. Not on the internet. Are you kidding?
Yes, you would. I would.
No, I know you would.
Hell yeah, dude, I'll do it for half of that.
I know.
Shit, I'll do it for half and half of that. Absolutely.
Half of that.
Listen, I would do it for 100,000. 100,000, I'll have sex with a female robot. Is it?
Really?
That doesn't even make sense, because there's no gender of a robot.
Come on, a robot. Whatever. No.
But anyway, so clearly we're in this weird space right now where technology is it's kind of going crazy at the moment. The problem with technology is you can't cap it. You can't cap ideas. Well, I mean, we can cap patents. If you have a great idea and you patent it, then we can cap that. But you can't cap people that are inventing stuff. It's how do you police that? You can't. You know, you can go on the internet. You can order a chemistry set. I mean, you can't cap that type of activity. So, I mean, look. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is this. You want to talk about technology, let's talk about CERN. For people that don't know what CERN is it's a scientific endeavor that's happening in Switzerland, parts of France, and I think, is it parts of Italy? CERN?
I think isn't it? I thought it's in Switzerland, but...
Okay, so Switzerland.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing, they are trying to open up. Well, they won't tell you specifically, but we know what they're doing. They're opening up portals and doorways to a next dimension. Okay. Now, Stephen Hawking, who's probably one of the greatest scientists out there. Is he a scientist? He's a physicist, right? He has said categorically this is not a great idea, right? So we have a bunch of scientists from around the world that are working in Switzerland that are eager to open up portals to other dimensions. Guys, how do you feel about that?
Well, on
I think it would be pretty cool, actually.
Okay. Right.
I think that would be cool if you could go to different dimensions. I think that's
Yeah, but
actually
Bella, we're not
just
talking about going to a different dimension. We're talking about opening a portal, and so we don't know what is going to come through that portal, do we? Do you not envisage some type of danger? I mean, is it fair to say, I said at the beginning of the show, like we've had some crazy, crazy weather. How do we not know that this weather is in direct correlation to what's happening in Switzerland right now? We don't know, do we?
yeah, but no, but you know what? I think is a risk, right? You don't know until you risk it.
No,
I know
a
that
risk
might
is
sound
a
stupid, but
risk.
it's that's like
A
if
risk,
you
a risk, a
die.
risk is saying, I've got X amount of jobs. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go for. I'm going to flip a coin, and wherever it lands, heads or tails, that's the job I'm going to take. That's a risk. This is not a risk. This is absolute madness. We're talking about ripping open space, the fabric of space and time, and looking beyond the natural physical world into another dimension. And you're saying that you think it's a cool idea? Really?
Absolutely.
Bella?
I think, yeah, she's cut out. Oh no.
I think it's a
Oh, there you go. There we go.
Go on, Bella.
it's a very I think it's very interesting and yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
But the thing, okay, so you say it's interesting, Bella, but can you give more on your opinions in terms of why do you think it's interesting? On what?
I mean, they're opening like to a new dimension. Why wouldn't it be interesting? I think it's really, really interesting.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Bella, but when we have starving people around the planet, right, and we're polluting the oceans, we're polluting the airwaves, is it really that important that we find out what's beyond the physical realm? Or as human beings, shouldn't our efforts and our focus be on trying to eradicate poverty, trying to eradicate civil wars, nation states, and fighting with fighting other nation states? Yeah. I mean, like, what is priority? What should be our focus?
Yeah, personally, from my opinion, yeah, we are playing around with the natural order of things. Yeah. So when I mean the natural order, I mean, the way the universe, however it was created. Yeah. We are really playing around with what are the natural order of how this universe works. And so your question through how CERN and what they're doing is they're splitting our patterns. And so I just wanted to just go a bit further on when you spoke about CERN. So it's a scientific laboratory where they are a certain amount of deep under the ground. They've got a circular tunnel. Now what they're doing is they are firing particles within that tunnel, and then that is traveling across the whole distance within a circle. And then what they're doing is they're trying to
smash atoms. So it's a hadron collider, and they're smashing atoms. So what is the name? What is the name of the particle that they're looking for?
It was the Higgs bigum.
No,
right?
Is it the Higgs boson or something?
Higgs boson, sorry, yeah. And that they said they found a new energy. Was it also, or was it a new energy that they found? And what it was is, so me and Solomon had a good conversation on what is actually happening with the environment at the moment. Now, you sent me a message about herds of birds. Yep. So who are migrating from one place to another. Now you showed me was it in Australia that there were a group of birds that literally dropped from the sky, right? they
remember that.
literally died and they dropped, and they were like hundreds of them, right? And if you don't believe me, you can go online and have a look at the pictures.
Yeah.
That
So we're having what we're experiencing
I think it happened now.
What we're experiencing right now across the world is mass animal die-offs from birds, mammals, you name it. Across the world, animals are dying off for no apparent reason, absolutely no apparent reason. So I sent KP a video, and what it was birds, large, I don't know, it's not the right word, not large groups of birds, but a large flock of birds that for no reason fell out of the sky. For absolutely no reason. They didn't hit anything while flying. They just literally fell out of the sky. And this has been going on for a long time now. We're having mass animal die-offs. We're having marine animals like whales and dolphins deliberately beaching themselves. Why are they doing this? Now, some people argue that it's the military, their sonars are too loud and it's scaring them. And what's happening is that they're going to the surface very, very quickly. Therefore, they have what we call, they're experiencing an effect called the bends, which basically means that the gas in the bloodstream starts, something about gases in their bloodstreams, it turns into some type of carbon or whatever. I've probably butchered this whole thing and I've got it completely wrong. But, and it's basically suffocating them. I don't know what's going on. I can only hypothesize, but I don't think it's military hardware that's creating this, because that doesn't account for birds falling out of the sky for no reason. So I'm not saying that we should connect it to CERN, but we should probably start asking questions. Why are we having this mass animal die-offs? Because it is.
Yeah, well, I think what CERN are doing is they're playing with the natural order of things, life. Yeah, they are smashing atoms together, and it's releasing energy that we don't know what consequences their actions that they're doing. Now, I'm not blaming CERN at all. I'm not saying, and don't just dispute me that, I think it's great what they're doing in terms of scientific discovery, but we don't know what they're doing when they're smashing these atoms together, and whether this energy that's released, because we don't know how animals, we do know their actions, and, they migrate, and, we have been studying animals for hundreds of years. But the thing is that are these, when we are doing these particular type of experiments, are we playing around with their way of navigation? Are we releasing some sort of energy that the animals are using as their beacon in order to navigate the globe? Is it really affecting? Now, again, I just want to make sure I'm not I'm not saying CERN is
we're not experts. We're not experts. We're not scientists. We're only bringing to your attention the reality of what you don't hear in the news. You don't hear about, a flock of 500, 600 or 1,000 winged animals falling out of the sky. Okay, you don't hear about the mass die-off of reindeer, for example, in Norway and Sweden. You don't hear that on the news. So it's a problem. It's a massive, massive, massive problem. And this is even before we've got into such treacherous territory as cloning, okay? Because yes, so they say they cloned Dolly the sheep. Back, when was it? The early 90s they cloned Dolly the sheep?
Yeah.
Right. But the reality is, and again, I don't have any evidence, it's my hypothesis, we've been cloning human beings since the early 30s. Definitely. From Nazi Germany, we've been cloning human beings. So if we are playing around with this type of technology, I'll say if, because I don't have any concrete evidence, and I want to make it very, very clear, because I don't want to come from a point of I'm an authoritative power on this issue, because I'm not. I'm just simply bringing to your attention that there's a possibility that these types of activities are taking place. And if they are taking place, when is enough? Because right now, they reckon there's about 8 billion people on the planet. So how many clones, human clones, are walking among us right now? I'm not talking about classified clones, because I think there was a lady back in the 80s, she was a test tube baby that's been classified. But how many people right now that you know about or not or don't know about that you meet every day? That and is it possible that some of these clones that are walking around, that they may not even know that they're clones? So we're dealing with a whole heap of crazy types of issues. And then let's pose another question. Where do clones fit into human rights? Into the whole human rights argument? Do they possess a soul? If they're created in some type of laboratory, and that's if they are created in some type of laboratory, are they fundamentally available to access human rights? Do they possess a soul? So we're going into some deep territory right now.
Yeah, because ethically, having clones, you are playing again with the natural order of things. You are taking a cell, right? And you are changing that cell, in its natural order, and you are injecting to remove some of the purities within that cell that may be bad or may be good. And so, and when you're using these clones, really they're talking about getting rid of diseases, so you are less prone to get particular type of diseases, and so you're pure. So you're more pure in terms of a race, because you weren't able to get, so you're less prone to get diseases, you're probably, maybe even the way your cells break down will be kind of not even, the older you get, it may not slow down. So, what they're doing with clones is crazy. And ethically, is it morally right to play around with our reproduction, right? How we reproduce as humans.
Bella, what is your take on cloning?
Well, the thing is, I think these scientists, I think these scientists are just playing God, right? The cloning, I think that's playing with nature, and I really, I do agree that I don't think we should share nature. We should just let it be.
Yeah,
right?
but says the lady, that said that open up different portals into different dimensions is a good thing. So are you not contradicting yourself a little bit?
No, it's not that I said that is okay. It's a good thing. I think it's very interesting. Interesting, and I think and humans, it's human nature to be curious and to always try to invent and intrude into nature, right? We're not going to be able to stop that, right? So I think humans are just humans. Because humans are curious. It's curiosity, and they're always wanting to invent. They always want they want to do this and they want to do that, right?
Well, you know what they say.
They're curious about the other side. They're curious about
they're curious into extraterrestrial life. They're curious into taking some type of surplus from an extra, a foreign dimension and bringing it back into this dimension. But the reality is, if what you're saying is the right way to go about it, when and how would we see the positive effects? Because still, right now, this world is filled by hydrocarbons, which is oil and gas, right? So, I mean, when would third world nations start to see the residual effects of this type of activity? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I think that's a complex.
Because what I'm trying to say, so in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is, listen, I'm not going to go into this whole debate about did we go to the moon or did we not go to the moon or all this kind of shit. But look, at the end of the day, Elon Musk, he wants to colonize Mars, which is great, good for him, right? But is that my question is that priority right now? I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, because of course, as you said, it's human nature for us to, it's like the Starship Enterprise, go in and discover new worlds and go beyond our own, and leave our own comfort zones. But in terms of prioritization, in terms of what is really important. Is it really important that we go to the moon? Is it really important that we go to Mars at this stage when there's starving children right now across Africa, across South America, Latin America, Asia, when we have slavery? Like right now, let me give you an example. You want to talk about slavery? Modern day slavery is bigger now than it was ever in human history. But we're not addressing that. No, we went to fucking Mars. I remember my ex-girlfriend said to me, her brother, right, had an ambition to go to Mars. This is probably why we broke up, because I'm so ruthless. But and she asked me what I thought about that, and I said it was the most ridiculous idea ever. Why the fuck would you want to go to fucking Mars when you haven't even left the country? I want to go to Mars, but you've never been to fucking France. You've never been to fucking United States or Asia, but you want to go to fucking Mars. And this is what I'm saying, like, we as human beings, we haven't got our priorities in check. And I don't want to get into this whole religious thing, but I do think that, again, this is part of this neoliberalism, this whole fucking movement, whereby we're kind of forgetting the old guard, right? And we're moving into this new era of, it's all about me, myself, and I. You know, it's all about what I can do. We're not thinking about our neighbors. We're not thinking about people that are close to us or that are not close to us, but rather we're thinking and we're moving into territory that is completely. I'm not saying that we shouldn't look at science as a way to propel humanity forward, but at the same time, if it's moving us forward in a direction, right, that's given us this great technology, but the man in Africa or the man in Asia or Latin America is still begging for bread. Where is the balance? That's my question, KP.
Well, there was a lot said there, so I don't know where to start with your question. What are you asking me? Because
I'm saying, well, I'm simply saying, like, do you not see that we're moving in a direction that's not necessarily conducive to the human condition? That's what I'm saying.
I see what you mean. I see where you're coming from. You know, humanitarian aid, you know, every country, you know, has a part of their GDP, you know, they contribute to humanitarian aid to third world countries, right? But how much money should that actually be? Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Like, you know, like you're saying, Elon Musk, you know, when he on February the 8th, he you know, he blasted his new heavy Falcon into space, but he put, you know, a lot of people were upset that the money that he spent to test his new heavy Falcon, he could have used that to help, you know, people in third world countries who are poor. But
well, let me just interject there.
But the thing
is, just before you do, and I'll give it back to you. But I just want to respond to that, because what many people don't know, that right now Puerto Rico went through their worst hurricane ever, or storm system ever, and it's Elon Musk that's providing power to the nation of Puerto Rico, and he does. And this has been under the radar. So yes, we can criticize him putting a fucking Tesla into space, but do you know that right now, if it wasn't for Elon Musk, there would be absolutely no power in Puerto Rico? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I'm answering your question in terms of what you think about, you know, us as a nation, you know, going multi-planetary, going to other solar systems, going to other planets. Yes, I think it's a great idea. And yes, for the survival of the human race, it's a must that we should think ahead, right? And
so you're basically saying, KP, that for the survival of the human race, we have to go into space, we have to colonize other planets, basically.
Yes.
Why?
Because
why for the survival?
Because what it is, right, is the natural resources in this planet, right, are going to deplete at some point. So you and I know the sun is going to die at some point, right? You and I know in 2,000 years' time, the sun's going to die, right? Because it's a star, right? It's a star, yeah? Mm. Or 50,000 or however long it's going to be, the sun is going to die at some point.
It's an right? Star. But yeah, go ahead.
So what it is, is that as a human race, as a human species, we have to think ahead. And Elon Musk is a visionary who, in this time, he feels that he wants to be a multi-planetary race where we have been to other, solar systems and other to explore the universe, right? And of course, then land on Mars and populate Mars. But what you're saying about him on the other side of that, right, is that money that he's spending, yeah, and is that he could invest, like you said, he's invested in his batteries, like his technology, to help countries where they've had a massive natural disaster, like in Haiti, and he provided these batteries. Yeah.
Haiti.
And the thing is, yeah, but Elon Musk is a visionary. He sees not only the short term, long term, but he's looking at a short term, medium term, but he's looking at long term goals. Yeah. And his vision long term is he wants our human race to be exploring other nations.
Sure. Okay.
And the thing is,
let's bring that into
the thing is, governments, yeah, are providing aid to these third world countries, and I do agree that it's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough that what aid we're giving. Yeah, but the thing is, it's politics. Yeah, you have to remember it's a very complex question, and politics, because you got to remember politicians are it's their hidden agendas. What do they get in return if they help these third world countries? And really, with these third world countries, they have what is called some sort of natural element. Yeah,
resource.
So they've got, like say for example in mobile phones. So let's talk about China, right? Why are they investing heavily in Africa at the moment? Do you think because they want to? Because they're doing it because for humanitarian purposes? Hell no, because there's some African countries that have this particular I forgot, it's titanium or it's a element that is used on mobile phones that are
graphite, zinc. Yeah, all these natural these natural resources all come from Africa. All come from Africa. But the difference between what the Chinese are doing, the difference between what the Chinese are doing and what the British did was, when they colonized Africa, was the British enslaved people and they took them by force. At least the Chinese are paying these African countries to use their resources. Right? And I haven't seen, by the way, I have not seen Black Panther, but it's interesting that we're talking about this because the premise of Black Panther is this African country that's highly evolved, highly evolved, based on a natural resource called beryllium or some shit like that. I think it's called beryllium.
It's an element.
So it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Bella, talk to us, baby. What's going on?
I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to, go on, I'm listening.
But we want to hear your opinion.
We want to
hear you.
Go ahead.
We want to hear you.
You want to hear me. Is the audio okay from my end? Can you hear me?
Absolutely fine, yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I was just saying, I mean, Africa, it's very, there's a lot of corruption in our world, right? And all the money that's going into, helping the hungry in Africa, it's just, I guess it's just either it's not enough or they're just, they don't want Africa to really develop. Why not teach them how to farm, or why don't they make water, proper water system for them?
Okay. Well, two things I want to say. First and foremost, Africa is the richest continent on the planet based on its own natural resources.
Exactly. Yeah.
Africa is in a position, right now, the way that we do trade around the world is completely wrong. Africa should be the continent, should be feeding every nation in the world because they've got the resources. All our products should be coming from Africa in terms of food. And what the Africans should be doing is trading their food resources for technology. But because of corporate greed, because of these multinational conglomerates that are making more money than these countries put together, they are controlling governments around the world. These lobbyists that control these multinational companies, they're greedy, and they don't want the African nation. They want the African nation to be on its knees, and it's always been this way. It's always been this way. It's always been this way. Even if you look at what's going on in Latin America, you see these massive. Let's look at cell phones, for example. So a lot of these cell phone companies are operating in Asia and also in Latin America. They get away with murder. Literally, they get away with murder. They pay next to nothing for the workers to come into the factories to put together these cell phones, right? And yet they transport through logistics back to North America and around the world, and they charge us, the consumer, 100 times the original price that it cost them to make these fucking smartphones. And we support them because we buy their products. We support them. So it's easy for us to blame the multinational companies. But at the end of the day, right, we are just to blame because for our own greed, because we want to keep up with the Joneses, we want to portray to our friends and our families that we have a great job, that we bought our own house, we bought the latest car, we've got all the latest toys. But we are indirectly fueling the greed that these multinational companies, lawbreakers, are able to get away with. Yes or no?
No, I agree with you. Absolutely. We do support them. And the thing is, like, what people do is when they're actually buying the product, they don't think that, oh, there's like a poor child that's probably working for 50 cents or $1 to make this product, right? People don't think like that. They just go and just buy. There's some that do.
You have to remember is businesses have shareholders. And every shareholder is just thinking about profit.
Yes.
How much shares they want their shares to be, for them to gain profits from this company's shares. Shareholders want to see increase in profits year on year. And so it's all, these businesses are all, it's all about profit. And however they make their profit, they want to please their shareholders. So like Sol is saying, when it comes to these third world countries and they're being, manipulated and getting paid pennies for their services. But yet when that product is produced, then they sell it for 10 or 20 times the value of how much it costs to make the thing.
And the crazy thing is about this whole, do you know what the crazy thing about this whole experience that we are undertaking right now is that we are being ripped away from nature. So what's happening is, it all kind of reminds me of the biblical story when Jesus was in the desert and he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and Satan came to him and he said, worship me. And he took Jesus on the top of the mountain and he said, worship me and I'll give you everything. And what it is, the reason I bring that kind of story up is because right now technology is counterfeiting the natural order of society. Rather than us being out there and enjoying nature, enjoying the wildlife, enjoying the trees and the grass and the streams and the lakes and everything that has been provided for us, right? We have now substituted the natural order for an artificial intelligence, right? And I think that's a big problem. I really feel like we are really moving down a very, very slippery slope. And if we're not careful, I think that rather than technology serving us, the human beings, this sentient being, now we are becoming, like it was in the Matrix, we are becoming that battery where we will now be serving technology. And that's a very, very difficult pill to swallow. So we, as human beings, as sentient beings, we really need to wake up. I would prefer to support the smaller enterprises and the smaller businesses than your Tesco's, your Walmarts, your Sainsbury's, your Asda's, whatever, etc. Because by supporting the smaller outlets, right, we are saying to the big corporations that you do not control us. You do not control the way we think, the way we live, and the way that we operate. The reason they get away with the way they get away with is because they can mass purchase their products. They can go overseas, they can buy out a business and become not only the distributor, but also the supplier of everything that we need. So we need to take back our power. Human beings, we need to get off our fucking knees and we need to take control of our own destinies rather than allowing these multinational companies to dictate how we should think, how we should live, how we should feel, and what is right for us, what is right for our children, how we should be educated. If you take your child out of school right now, you're going to be put in jail or you'll be placed with a hefty, hefty fine, right? We're giving so much of our freedom away to the government, to the deep state, to these multinational corporations. And I'm telling you, we are walking up a very, very difficult, we're walking down a very, very difficult slope, you know? But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, with this wonderful, mind-provoking, entertaining episode of Let's Take This Outside, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, guys. Is there anything you want to add to what we've spoken about before we let these wonderful people go and enjoy the snow?
Well, I just wanted to first, what we spoke about is really great because we've looked at the the positives of technology and the negatives of technology. But the thing is I think the positive outweighs the negative with technology. And one is because I've always fostered change. And as
you can
yeah, it's I knew Sol would say something. And I love these debates because I love hearing other people's opinions on what they think about technology. And because I'm a savvy technology person, I foster change and I love where technology is going. But today, when we've had this conversation, it was in my mind, but now it's kind of lit it up again on what the what the weaknesses are of technology and the changes is happening to the world. But for me, I feel technology is going to change. That we cannot stop it. It's an engine that is just really over the last 20 years.
Pandora's box.
Yeah, there's so many startup companies working in the locations of Silicon Valley. Even London is a hub now. There's a massive hub opening up in London for technology, and it's not going anywhere. And digital transformation in every business. Thank God I get a job. My job is, even though I don't have one yet, but my job is still in demand. So I totally agree, and I thank you for everyone today for a great conversation.
Bella, do you want to say anything to the wonderful guys and gals out there that are watching us, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, I agree with KP. I really do.
Of course you do.
That our technology is just gonna increase in the future, and I think it's really gonna affect us humans. And so that's about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed our video.
Absolutely. And before we go, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, do what you need to do. Look at the description down below. We have an Instagram page up. We want you to support us if you believe in what we're trying to do. What are we trying to do? We want to entertain you, number one, but also we want to bring a positive message. We want to also highlight the important issues that we all face day to day, whether you're rich, poor, small, black, white, pink, blue, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're all going through the same experience to varying different degrees. We live and we die. So if you enjoy us, support this channel by likes and shares, support this channel financially, because we're doing this off our backs. We're not asking, we're on a zero budget at the moment, but needless to say, we still want to push forward. We want to allow you to have a voice. And also, if you have a particular topic or subject matter that you think we should talk about, and if we have the information to have, then leave a message in the comment section and connect with us, because we want to connect with you. With that being said, take care of yourself and each other. Ciao, ciao.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.